and welcome back. Today we are going to be continuing our hair series and I'm going to do kind of a soft curl when you're just looking for something that's like a little bit more polished. It's just kind of more of a wave or a flip in for your hair on either side, and just really adds a lot of body and movement to the hair, but doesn't necessarily make it an actual like ringlet curls. So to start every hair look, I always use a little bit of a hair oil before I actually dry my hair, and recently I've been starting to use this brand HASK Aragan oil. It's just a healing shine hair treatment, added keratin for smoothness, and I think it says it can be used both on wet and dry hair, so I put a little bit in before I blow dry my hair. I feel like it really keeps it soft and really keeps it very healthy. And recently I've been using the L'Oreal Paris Advanced Hair Volume Filler, and it's kind of like it feels like a gel when you put it in your hair, but it's really specifically like a blowout cream. It says on here for leave-in for fine or thin hair, which I really feel like it, even though I have like fairly thick hair, I feel like it just gives it so much more body. Like if I just blow dry my hair with like a smoothing cream or just with a hair oil, it just falls like really flat, versus when I put the volume filler in, or more of like the blowout cream, it definitely has like a lot more body to it. So that just like gives us a nice base to start with before we really do any look. So typically, if I'm going to do my hair, like I said, with this kind of like slightly curled in hair look, it's probably for like something on air. And even though it may look a little bit big in person, usually hair looks a little bit more flat when you're actually on camera. So I always start with a little bit of dry shampoo. I have the Dove Hair Therapy dry shampoo, but really any dry shampoo will work. And I put it along my roots, basically along my crown, and then in the back as well. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that, spray that here on both sides, and then in the back as well. And this just adds a little bit of body. All right, and let that set for a second, and then I start working that into my roots. And just kind of massage that in and make sure all that product, so that there's no white residue. And then today we're going to be using a 2-inch hot roller, which I know some people don't have. I had to actually like search far and wide. If you want to get the specific ones, it's just the Hot Tool Professionals. But yeah, 2 inches the 2-inch ones can be harder to find. I just prefer kind of the fatter curler when you're, like I said, doing this look. It just, I think, makes it easier. So to get started, for the same as I did when I did my hair curling tutorial, I'm going to section off my hair. So I'm just going to take kind of the top crown, and we're going to clip that out of the way so that we can kind of work from the bottom and up. And really, every time you do this, no matter whether you're even really wearing your hair straight or curly, it just adds a little bit more body and volume, because you're kind of building the layers on top of each other, and it'll just make it a little bit bigger, basically. To start on the bottom, my hair is actually a little bit knotty. I'm just going to brush it through really quick, because this is a little bit more of a smoother hair look. So I'm going to just take my 2-inch hot roller, and I'm going to start in the front and work my way back. Sometimes I take a little bit of larger pieces, because this is a fatter roller. You don't necessarily need like a really skinny like 1-inch piece. You can definitely do more like 2 or 3 inches at a time. And I only roll it about halfway up the hair, and I only leave it for a few seconds and let it go. And then it just kind of creates this nice little flip here. And I just work my way back. And this is, if you don't want to do like a full curl, but you do want a little bit of a polished look, this is so nice to do, because really it's honestly like half the time of curling your whole hair. So I do this a lot, like I said, especially if I'm going to be anchoring or even reporting. It just is a little bit more, it's a little bit nicer than just wearing it, pin straight. And you can even, obviously flip the ends in, either in or out with a flat iron as well. I just like the curler. I think it just looks looks very put together. And it looks like you really did your hair, even if you only spent a few minutes, kind of flipping the pieces in. Okay. And I usually keep it on about 350 degrees or a little bit less. I know it goes all the way up to 430, but I feel like any higher than 350 is really just going to burn your hair. And again, just about halfway up, and I always flip it in if you would like to flip it out, if that, personally suits your style more. I'm gonna wait and do my makeup until I get to work later, which I typically do anyway, just so it looks really fresh for on air on the weekends. When I'm anchoring, I specifically do this, where I wait till I get to work to do my makeup, but especially because my skin is still kind of recovering from the dermaplaning procedure. If you didn't see my last video, I can link it in the description box below. But I definitely feel like the first day my skin looked so great, and then I had a little bit of some irritation and some texture for a few days, just because I do have very sensitive skin. And it really, I mean, I'm not really seeing as much of the redness anymore, but I definitely feel like it's just still a little bit sensitive, and I'm really wanting to let all my like beauty products that I put on this morning, you know, all my face products, let them really sink in and do their work, and let my moisturizer really sink in before I go in and put on my makeup, just because my skin's been a little bit dry since I've gotten it done. So I really want that moisturizer and the face oils that I put on to sink into the skin and before I put makeup on. How much body there is on this, and you feel like this is how you want it to look, I would spray a little bit of hairspray over it. You can use either a really super light hairspray like a Moroccan oil, or I actually am going to need to get the full size of this L'Oreal Elnette Satin hairspray, because I got a little size because I wasn't sure if I would like it, and this is absolutely my new favorite hairspray, for even straight or curly, but especially for if you're just wearing it like this, a little bit straight but with a little bit of a curl in it. This is perfect. I would absolutely recommend this one. So like I said, if you're happy with how that looks now, you can go ahead and spray the hairspray. If you want a little bit more body and you want it to look even bigger, this next step is totally optional, but I'm just going to show you guys just in case you do want to do it. And basically, to tease a little bit, you can actually even do this before you start curling, but I kind of wanted to do steps for if you just wanted to go through this way. But if you kind of just take the crown on the back of your head, and you kind of just pull probably a couple inches of hair up from the very back of your head. And then if you want to take a fine-tooth comb and slightly back comb, you can use a comb or a brush and just slightly actually turn to the side so you can see it a little bit better. If you slightly back comb here, just a few inches up, and let that go. Obviously, this is like huge and crazy, but that is going to add so much body. And I'm just going to do one kind of a little bit more on the other side too, just to add a little bit as well. All right. So obviously this looks, again, so crazy right now, but if we slightly just kind of comb over the top, and then I'm going to just run these back pieces over the curling iron again, just to kind of smooth out the very top of them. And again, this is just going to add a lot of body. And you can go even further. I mean, you can take your tease, you know, all the way up to, you know, really halfway around to the front of your head. I would not really tease too much right in the front, because that can look a little bit crazy. So for me, now that we've done that extra step of teasing and kind of going over the hair, now we're going to go in with hairspray. So I just like to very gently do the front, and I kind of like to have, this hair kind of tends to fall for me, so I kind of like to keep this a little bit out of the way and kind of hold it in place with hairspray. And I like to just put a little bit on those front pieces and make sure they stay in the shape that you want them. I gently go over the top because you don't want to lose that volume, but it can get especially crazy on the top. one kind of easy trick, if you feel like you have like a ton of flyaways like up in the front of your hair, you can just spray a little bit onto your fingertips and then kind of rub that between your fingers and just go over your hand, those like little small hairs with your hands, because that'll be a little bit more of precisely putting the hair where you want it. And if you're someone who feels like they don't really need hairspray, you can always skip it or use a little bit of a texturizing spray. But I would say even for a look like this that's a little bit more straight hair, you're really going to need at least a little bit of hairspray, especially if you live somewhere really humid. But just in general, if you want the look to stay all day through, you know, that meeting, that event that you have, just a little bit of hairspray will go a long way. So this is the completed hair look. Again, I would absolutely recommend this L'Oreal hairspray, but I'm going to be trying out some new ones as well, and we'll kind of let you know my favorites. Definitely comment your favorite hairspray or hair product below, and stay tuned for more hair tutorials. I hope you have a great week. Please like and subscribe.